The video man is going, so we have to. Okay, all right, start.
Good morning, everyone. How many of you are coming to Sadaji's talk for the first time?
Wow.
Take it out. Just a brief introduction about Sadaji. He is known as Sadaji favorably for all of us. His full name is Acharya Sadaji. And by profession, he is a physicist. And he has worked for many, many years in the Navy Research Lab as a physicist. And in 1978, he ended up meeting Gurudev for the first time in the American University when his wife dragged him to a lecture. He was not very interested in meeting Swamiji at that particular time. So he ended up sitting in the last row, listening to Swamiji's lecture for the first time. And then next day morning, he was there at 7 o'clock on the first row to listen to Gurudev's lecture. So Sadaji was transformed from one lecture to the next in terms of meeting with Gurudev, and from there, Sadaji spent a lot of time with Gurudev whenever he's been here in the Washington DC chapter. Sadaji is one of the founding members of CMWRC. And he has actively played the role in building up this center and all the other centers of the CMW Center. Sadaji conducts a lot of classes and lectures around both online as well as in physical presence. He's been taking this Memorial Day camp for many, many years now. I have actually been attending this for about 7 years now and would not miss the chance of attending this class for anything other than all the activities that we all go through during the Memorial Day holiday. One thing that always stays with me, what Sadaji told me, and I've always tried to practice, and that is something that I can share with you. Sadaji is a Grihastha himself and practiced Vedanta and come to this level of understanding and teaching. And I asked him, as a Grihastha, what do we need to do to get there? And his answer was pretty simple. He said, please make sure you attend every class and every camp and every discussion whenever and wherever possible. And if you keep doing that, your path will automatically become open. And that's an advice that I have taken from Sadaji and have followed, and I would urge all of you to consider. Wherever possible, if you can attend classes and lectures and camps and yajnas, it slowly starts becoming a part of the system and the process. So with that advice, I will start with Sadaji starting off with this section. Quick housekeeping activity. Please make sure all your cell phones are turned off. You may want to check it one last time. Restrooms. There are 2 restrooms, one behind the auditorium over here, and second, downstairs in between the classrooms, there are restrooms as well. And we will have a tea break followed by a lunch break, and then we'll have another tea break. So we'll have 4 sessions going on and 2 tea breaks and lunch break in between. And Sadaji will have a Q&A session. We'll make sure you have pieces of paper ready to ask your questions.
You can put some chairs there. If you can pull some chairs and put it if you want to sit on chairs.
So Sadaji would like to have the questions written, no open questions, so we'll have paper ready for you so you can write the questions, and during lunchtime Sadaji will answer those questions.
Thank you. Om samasta jana kalyani niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahma vidvaram vasudeva sutam devam kamsachanura mardanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravidam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, Tvameva sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. Today we are going to have an intense camp called Spiritual Awakening and Meditation. But these two are not really two, it's the same. But somehow meditation is a selling point. A lot of people say, oh, meditation means people will come. But we are not trying to sell anything here. We want to be awake. In general, we're going to talk essentially what Vedanta says, or the essence of Vedanta, and the essence of Vedanta called Mahavakyas. And the instruction by the teacher is, you are that, Tattvamasi. This comes in the Chandogya Upanishad, in the 6th chapter, Sadvidya. The audios are maybe available there, which we took. And this Tattvamasi statement comes 9 times. The teacher is Uddalaka, that is the father is a teacher, and the student is Swetaketu, his own son. So obviously he is very careful to teach, so he wants his son to realize. And therefore he tells 9 times the same statement, using different examples, of course. We will go into that a little bit later. But it says, Aitadatmya midagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi svetaketo. This is how it repeats. So, Aitadatmya midagam sarvam, or idam sarvam. This entire universe, idam sarvam means entire universe. Aitadatmyam, the essence of entire universe. Tat satyam, that I have been discussing before, because that's how the whole chapter is on Sat. And Sa Atma, that is Atma, that is the Self, and you are that Tattvamasi. We'll explore this. So there are 3 words here, Tat, Tvam, Asi. So it's an instruction to the student, you. So from my point, I am, I. And Tvam is that, Tat is that, Tvam is you. Tat is that means that which is different from you. Asi means equation. You are that. Now what is you, what is that, and what is this equation has to be understood. And that's involved the essence of this whole camp. And Vedanta says nothing else you need to know other than this. That's all. The whole Vedanta is only this. Then why we have so much of Upanishads and all that? That's only to try to make you understand what this is. So there are statements explaining what you stand for, what that stands for, and what this equation really means. So to understand this equation, I have to read the rest of it. But here, in this camp, we'll try to condense that, and it's a meditative in the sense, it's not talking about somebody else. It's about my own self, and I have to inquire to know it. So it's telling, awake yourself Spiritual awakening is getting up because scripture says we are sleeping. Also in the Kathopanishads, Uttishta Jagrata Prapyavaran Nibodhata Akshurasya Dhara Duratyaya Durgam Padanat Kavayo Vadanti. Uttishta, get up, get up. Jagrata, awake. I thought we are all awake. But says, no, you are not. We are dreaming. Dream, we all know how to dream, right? Some people dream even the waking state also. But when we go to deep sleep, when we go to sleep, we go through the dream state. There we create a world, the dream world. See how the scripture itself analyzes that. This is an experience of everybody. And in the dream world, who created the dream world? I myself created it. Because it's my dream. And on what basis I created it? Because I have potential vasanas that are there, which we call suppressions and oppressions in the waking state, which I could not exhaust in the waking state. That forms the seeds for the dream creation. Where is the dream world? In my mind. So in the waker's mind, be careful, in the waker's mind is the dream world. Using the vasanas that are created in the waker's mind as a basis, when I create the dream world, completely different from the waking world, because I am sleeping in the air-conditioned room with all dark, because I can't sleep with all lights. I close all the doors, comfortably I am sleeping, and I am dreaming what? A bright sunlight, completely opposite. And I am in the hot sun, in the forest, there are forests, the trees and the rivers and the valleys and all that in the dream. Where do they come from? See what a kind of creative power I have. I create the whole world, and including people also, trees, animals, everything I could create. So Akasha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithivi, everything is there. Instantaneously. Right? Not first, let me create Akasha, then Vayuhu, then Agnihi, Apaha, Prithivi, all no. Bang. Right? And I entered into my own creation as a jiva, as an individual in the creation. Right? Forget that I was the one who created the whole world. Experiencing the whole world as though it is separate from me. And I now see a tiger coming and chasing me. Who created the tiger? I created the tiger. I made it hungry also. And then now I am trying to run away from the tiger to save myself. And praying the Lord, oh Lord, please save me from that tiger. But the tiger already finished Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, he spoke also. And it's ready to pounce on, because it found a beautiful food there. So I created the dream. I forgot that I am a creator of the dream. And I see the beings in the dream. They have their own bodies, their own minds, their own intellects, the BMI of every jiva in my dream. and I think that dream is real. If I am thirsty in my dream, the water on the waking table doesn't help me. I need a dream water to quench the dream thirst. If I am sick in the dream, I have to go to dream hospital to get a dream medicine by a dream doctor, right? But for that, a dreamer is not a dream while I am in a dream. It's real. You can go and tell him, hey, you are Tattvamasi. He says, forget about Tattvamasi. Let me first save myself from this tiger. Right? In what way the dream world is different from this world, waking world? The whole Mandukya Upanishad is on that. That's also we have taken in one of the Memorial Day camps. All the audios are available also. There is only one difference between the waking and the dream. In the dream, I am not able to recognize while I am in the dream, using the dream body, mind and intellect, that I am really a waker. Follow this? I cannot recognize while I am in the dream that a dream is not only a dream. I think the dream is a real world. Because I don't know any other world. With the body, mind, and intellect of the dream world, I cannot recognize that I am a waker sleeping in the air-conditioned room because it's completely covered. That's called avarana. Avarana means covering. Covering my true nature from the dreamer point. Whereas in the waking state, I can develop a discriminative faculty to recognize while in the waking state that this is also like a dream and my real nature is something higher. Follow the difference between the waking state and the dream state. So Tattvamasi statement in the dream will not help me because I do not have that viveka. Viveka is a discriminative faculty that is required to differentiate I am a waker and not a dreamer. That faculty is not there in the dream state. It is also not there in the waking state as I am right now. But I can develop by a discipline of the mind to differentiate what is real and what is not real, using analysis by the mind. That's called viveka. That we need as a basis for awakening, because we want to awake from this state to the higher state. Even this state is like a dream, but we don't get up just like the dream to a waker to recognize the dream was not real. But we can recognize that this is not real while in the waking state, but understand that it is something higher by proper viveka as an essential means. And that's one of the qualifications required to awake. I assume you all have it. But how to develop it, we'll also go through. So it's a part of the sadhana, involves preparing the mind in order to awake. Otherwise, simple statement, Tattvamasi camp is over. But how do I am that? And how I can abide in that? These are very important. So first thing is, what is this viveka? This discriminative faculty, and how do I get this? Besides viveka, there are other 4 qualifications also, other 3 qualifications: viveka, vairagya, samadhi shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. These are the 4 requirements to awake. That we will come with the viveka also. So we will go through that also a little bit. Now, why should I awake? I am already awake, if you say. If you don't want it, no need, because mumukshutvam is part of it. Only means you have a desire. That's why we said those who want to realize in this life only have to attend this camp. If you don't want it, you will be born again. Next life you can do it. But I won't be there. Or many people may not be there. So someone asks a prayer with this Shankaracharya, oh, Swami, I want you to be my teacher in every life. So that means Shankaracharya also has to be born every time this fellow is born. Now, we will analyze the Tvam Padartha. And how we develop the discriminative faculty also. In the next session, we will talk about the Tat Padartha. So, right now we are talking about ourselves. It's very simple, right? And just now he introduced me, blah, 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 Sadaji, this, Sadaji, that, Sadaji. I couldn't hear. Only God has blessed me with so much that I cannot hear a lot of it. It's one of the advantages of getting old, I guess. So, everyone introduction is, I am this. So when I say I am this, I have this lot of whatever, depending upon the environment. In the Chinmaya mission, I have this. This changes when I go to some scientific conference, some other this. All biodata, right? Your biodata. What does it say? I am this. Some people have pages and pages of this. So everyone is saying, I am this. So if I ask you, sir, who are you? You will say, I am this. But your this is different from my this. Thank God. Because your bank account is different from my bank account, hopefully. And everybody knows that I know who I am. Because I am this. And that's why scripture says, awake. Why? Because you are not this. I'm not this. So if somebody gives you biodata, I say, your biodata, I say, you are not this. He says, no, I am that. You will fight with him. Because that's your whole life has spent in creating that biodata. How great you are, and people have pages and pages, and they boast to themselves how great they are, and so on and so forth. Everybody talks about their greatness only, right? And of course, they have to listen to other fellow talking about his greatness. So the equation is I am equal to this. That's the problem. That's a fundamental human problem. Not only now, that's years in the back, years in the future. This is the continuously generation, and I am going with that notion Not only this life, the life after life, millions of life before also, I am equal to this. And the scripture says that is wrong. You are not this. Sir, you just now said the whole tattva message is I am that. So we'll come back to that statement. First now you are not this at least. Let's understand first I am. That's why I have to go one step at a time. Jiva Swarupam. Who am I? And what is this world? And what's my relationship with the world? If I don't know properly, then I have wrong relationships all the time. That's what the human problem, human misery also. So where is the problem? Problem is, I am cannot be this. And that's how Shankara starts the whole Brahma Sutra Bhashya with this statement. Yushmat ashmat pratyaya gocharoyoho vishaya vishayinoho tava prakashavatu viruddha swabhavayoho. Completely opposite. What? I am a conscious entity. Subject. This is an unconscious entity, object. How can the subject equal to object? Fundamentally wrong. So I am, this is correct, wrong, because this is something that I know, and I am a knower. A knower is different from the known. I cannot be this. Yet I am going whole life after life after life with this notion that I am this. Since this is limited, I don't like that. Why? Because this is called Desha Kala Vastu Parichinnam. Parichinnam is limited by space-wise, time-wise, object-wise. Therefore, I cannot be that. I don't like the limitations of this. Therefore, I want this to be bigger and bigger and bigger. Right? I want to make this as big as this because I am this. So I buy from small apartment to big mansion in the McLean. Why? Because the more I have, the more I am. Right? Because I am this. Isn't it? Whole life, everybody is struggling hard. This can be wealth, this can be power, this can be anything that I want. Make it bigger, 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 bigger. Even if I have billions, I need more billions. You think he is greedy, but he wants to become infinite, that this has to become infinite. Then only he will stop. He cannot stop unless this becomes infinite. Then there is nothing else to add into this. Right? I have everything. So I will stop the pursuit in life only when this becomes infinite. Then it will not be Desakala Vastu Parichinnam. Parichinnam is limitation of space-wise, time-wise, object-wise. There will not be any limitation because this is infinite, which is beyond space, time and object-wise. Because there is nothing else. That what scripture calls Brahman. Brahman means infiniteness. So when I am Brahman, then I stop. Right? That's the equation, simple. Otherwise, I'll be rat race all the time. I want to make it bigger, bigger, this bigger, bigger, bigger by having that, I want that, I want that, I want that, running all over life after life, day in and day out. Dinyaminyo sayam prataha shashira vasanto purarayata kala kridati gatshatyayuhu tadapi pinchas ashava punarapi maranam punarapi jananam jatareshayanam. Every life after life after life, same problem. If you want to continue, continue. We have no problem. That's your problem, not my problem. But if I want to stop this process itself because I'm struggling hard to make this infinite, by how? By adding another thing to it. I want that to make this infinite. Says that is illogical. I cannot make a finite into infinite by adding another finite. That's mathematically illogical. Finite plus finite is only finite. It cannot never become infinite. So by any process, I cannot make finite into infinite. So I am trying to solve a problem because I recognize the problem, because I don't like this. as this small, and trying to make it big, make it infinite by a process which cannot be done. But I am struggling hard all the time, life after life. This is my problem. I am trying to solve a problem which cannot be solved by the process that I am trying to do. Follow the essence of human problem? If we recognize this problem, how to solve this problem, why we need to solve the problem, because I cannot but solve the problem. This is another problem. Not only this problem cannot be solved, but I cannot stop adding to this, because that's the only way I can be happy. I want to make this bigger and bigger, and which cannot be done. At the same time, I cannot stop doing this. So I am in a miserable condition. If I recognize it, then only the spiritual camp will be successful. Your life becomes meaningful only because you have to solve the problem. You may postpone it to next life or next life and next 100 lives. But you cannot but solve the problem. And the way we are going to solve the problem, you can never solve the problem. You understand the problem now? That's our problem. So, essence of the problem is that my notion of limitations of space-wise, time-wise, object-wise, desha, kala, vastu, parichinnam. Parichinnam means limitation. And I don't like it. I am taking that as a limitation because I have a notion that I am this, which is completely opposite, because I am a conscious entity and this is unconscious entity. Now we all recognize the problem. Do you want to really solve this problem or postpone to next life? So we need to analyze why I am taking I am this. Why I am saying I am equal to this, even though it's a wrong equation. Why am I doing it? And the scripture says you are doing only because you don't know who you are. Because I don't know who I am taking what I am not as I am and suffering the consequence of that. So only solution to the problem is know who you are. That's the end of the story. Yeah? Because I am taking myself what I am not, obviously because I don't know. It's not the question of logic, it is if I know what I am, then why should I take this as I am? So obviously, I don't know who I am. Don't go by just logic. Logically it feels very good. Oh, he gave very good talk, he says everything I agree. Then back to I am this only. After the talk is over, I can guarantee that it will be still notion that I am this. In spite of understand, yes, I am not this, I know, understand, clearly understand. What? I am not this. Yet, there are two problems, because in the transactional world, I have to go with the notion I am this. But if I understand that I am not this, at the same time I can use as this, I can transact in the world as I am this, at the same time I know I am not this. You follow the problem here? You go to the immigration office and say, sir, who are you? I am. You are what, sir? He wants some this only. Without this you cannot transact in the world. So I am, this has to be used, but not to be misused. Because only the transactional called the Vyavaharika Satyam, transactionally I can use, but intellectually through Viveka, I had to know that I am not this. You follow now why Viveka comes? Okay, if I can reject completely this, there is no problem, but I cannot. As long as I am in this state of waking state, because I have the body, mind and intellect, I have to transact in the waking world. Just as the dreamer, if he knows that even the tiger is me, but still he has to run from the tiger, knowing that tiger is also me also. It's the same way, in the waking state, I should know how to transact in the world with the knowledge that I am not this. Follow that? That means I have to use this discriminative faculty all the time, while transacting in the world, recognizing I am not this, at the same time use this. And if you have to do gali to boss, you have to do whatever. Whatever need to be done, has to be done properly. That's why whole Bhagavad Gita starts with that. You fight, niyatam kuru, do your obligatory duties, but knowing very well you are not this. See, my wife is a dancer. I start learning dance with all these things. So what is the problem? Problem is the ignorance of my own self is the fundamental problem. That's called Mula Avidya. Mula means there's a basic problem, not ignorance of anything else. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From the darkness lead me to the light. Darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. That's a prayer. What is ignorance? I do not know myself. I am taking myself what I am not as I am myself, and then operating in this world and getting confused and confusing everybody else. And only the saving grace is not only I am confused, everybody is also confused. That's only. Okay. Any this cannot be I, right? Because this, which I can point out, this, anything that I can point out cannot be the one who is pointing. So I am different from this involves to know that I am none of this. And that is the first teaching of the Vedanta, called Neti Neti. Neti Neti means not this, not this, not this. What is not this? Means I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Then who am I? Oh, I am this then. No, you are not this. I cannot say I am. What else say? I cannot add anything else. If anything else is this only. Right? So I cannot know as I am something. So don't say I am going to be, I am Brahman. You are not that. Even Brahman, no. Because anything that can be objectified, I am not. And subject cannot be objectified. That's what subject is. So what should I say? Just say I am. I am that I am. Remember, it's a biblical statement. That's the essence. Because I cannot say anything else. But anything else is not I am. Because this. So how do I arrive at who I am? By any process. I cannot. But I can reject what I am not, and hopefully what is left behind is I am. Right? By process of elimination. So when I say I am, at least in the English we have two words, I and am. I stands for consciousness, am stands for existence. So that is I know. Existent consciousness that I am. Do you all exist? Yes? No? Hopefully you existing. Are you all conscious? Yes. So everyone claims that I am conscious entity and existent entity. What I don't know is I am Ananda also. That's our problem. I know I am Sat, that's existence. I know I am Chit, I am conscious entity, but I don't know that I am Ananda. Therefore, I want searching for Ananda. Whole life is only searching for happiness only. Whether you are a spiritual or not spiritual, you are looking for Ananda. But you think that will bring me happiness, this will bring me happiness because I want to make it this big by making that way, that will make me happy. So I am searching for happy because I recognize I am not happy as I am. But I need to inquire first, who am I? That's a fundamental inquiry first. Forget about the world, forget about everything, forget Vedanta also. First I want to know who I am. Inquire who you are. How am I going to inquire who I am? Oh, sit down and meditate, who am I, who am I, who am I? It's not a meditation. It's not a repetition of japa. You want to know who you are. Knowledge is required because ignorance is a problem. Knowledge can only be gained, or ignorance can only be removed by knowledge. That's how. Because I don't know myself, that ignorance has to be removed by knowledge. That's simple, right? I don't know chemistry, what should I do? Oh, do japa on chemistry. Nothing will happen. You go to teacher and learn basically chemistry. How long? Until you know. To which teacher? Does a physics teacher or a psychology teacher? No. Go to chemistry teacher only. Because he only can teach chemistry. To remove the chemistry ignorance, I have to go to chemistry teacher. Sir, when did your chemistry ignorance started? What do you mean, when did it started? From the beginning I don't know chemistry. From the beginning of what? Ignorance cannot start. Follow? Ignorance is beginningless. But it can end when I learn chemistry. Simple. Same way, ignorance of my own self is also beginningless. But it can end if I know who I am. How do I know? Go to a teacher. Which teacher? Who knows who I am? Sir, what good is that if he knows who he is? I want to know who I am, not who he is. Right? I want to go to a teacher who knows who I am. But what good is teacher? What is teacher? That he will teach. Unless he knows who he is and who you are also. Sarva bhutastam atmanam sarva bhutani jam atmani. Krishna says, one who sees himself, sarvabhutastam atma, himself everywhere, sarvabhutani cha atmani, everything in his own self, he knows this self. He alone knows this self. So a teacher is the one who knows not only yourself, his self, every self also. Therefore you can go to teacher who can teach. Understand all this? This is intricate but still essential points. That's why tadvijnanartam sa gurum eva abhigacche samitpanihi sotriyam brahmanishtam. Go to a teacher with attitude of service. Why should I serve the teacher? Why doesn't he serve me? I can pay and no, because he doesn't depend upon you, your payment or anything, because he is full by himself. He doesn't need anything else for you, even he doesn't have to teach. Because he is reveling in himself, Atmani eva Atmana atushtaha. He doesn't need to teach. Only if he teaches only out of compassion. So therefore, go with an attitude. So Krishna says, Tadviddi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. So go to a teacher, pranipata, flat on his feet. Why feet? Feet is the one standing on the knowledge, dharma. So approach a teacher to find out who you are. It's a very strange thing. And in the process, he will teach other things also. When you know who you are, you will know. But who am I? That tvam padartham has to be understood. So is the problem clear now? We have defined the problem. Because without the problem, then there is no point in sitting and meditation. To what? Do what? To understand this only. So in the meditation, if we go, we are trying to say, I am not this, I am not this. Mano buddhya hankara chitta ninam. That's why he was singing, right? Manaha buddhi hankara chitta. I am not that. So why? Anything, this cannot be I. Krishna says in the 13th chapter, Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidhiyate. This is called kshetram. Idam, starting from anything, idam is called kshetram. And kshetrajna, knower of the kshetram, is different from kshetram. Who is that knower? He goes into the discussions there. Kshetrajnam is one of the beautiful chapter of Gita, 13th chapter. So who am I inquiring? Need to be done. Okay? So that is the first basis. Now how am I going to inquire? He said, by process of elimination. Rejecting what I am not. For that, he says, viveka is required. Why? It's a very peculiar statement here. Because if you go to people who have read J. Krishnamurti and all that, you may be familiar with it. Oh, your mind is conditioned. You know, I went through, that's how I got into this Vedanta. Oh, teacher, nothing also. That's why no Swamis, nothing. I was not even going any Swamis because J. Krishnamurti said, no teacher, no religion, nothing. All because of you're all conditioned to think like that. I don't know if most of people, anybody has read these J. Krishnamurti stuff. You don't need to read, but if you read with understanding, after Vedanta, then it looks beautiful. Truth is a pathless land, it started. Then what do I do? Pathless land. But what do I do now? Don't ask me, because you will be conditioned to my thinking. Then you have a problem. Sir, how do I decondition myself? I understand I am conditioned. Now how do I decondition myself? I don't know if you know Krishna. You have to observe your mind. Very good. I read that. Says, okay, I sat down to observe my mind. Then suddenly ask, who is the observer of the mind? I had a problem. Again the mind, because there is nothing else I have. The mind has to observe the mind, like you ask the thief to catch a thief. It's the same thing. A mind has to be used to observe the mind. Just now he chanted, Mano Buddhyahankara Chittani. Now who is saying that? Mind again. I am not the mind. The mind is saying. You follow now where the problem is, where the subtle intellect is required now? That is Viveka. Now, how do I do this? Therefore, first thing is I have to use the mind. Has to be clear. It's not going beyond the mind. Shut the mind. No, nothing will happen. You go to sleep. Deep sleep state, you won't have mind. It's folded. So you have to use the mind to discover you are not the mind. Follow the problem there? Now how? Now we said, I am equal to this, right? Let's go back to that equation a little bit. You say you are this. How do you know? How do you know this? Because mind is also this. How do I know my mind? I have to use the mind, but who am I? See, now you are coming into little bit problems, so therefore I am going a little step back. How do I know this? Oh, this I know. Any object. This is a chair. This is a carpet. I know. This is he. This is she. I know. Everything is an object from my point. I am the only subject from my reference. You are the only subject from your reference. Right? Everything. That's why Shankaracharya says, Yushmad Ashmat Pratyaya Gocharayo. Yushmad and Ashmat, there are only two. Minus and inus. Inus and minus, there are only two. And one is an object and one is a subject. And they are completely viruddha swabhavam. They are completely opposite. That's how Adhyasa Bhasha, the introduction to Brahma Sutra, he starts with this. Okay, you need to understand this, then the whole Brahma Sutra also is understood. That's what Shankara's greatness of his interpretation of that. So how do I know this? Now, the whole talk will be on the light. So, if you understand this, it's because very, very subtle. But at the same time, this is the essence of Vedanta also. That's why I emphasize this. And light gives you a very beautiful example. And light has a lot of analogy with the light of consciousness. Now, you all are able to see me, right? And see the whole room. You are seeing the table, you are seeing this, you are seeing this, everything you are seeing. Now the question is, what are you seeing? I will ask. How do you know this is there? Oh, I can see. What do you see? Eyes can see. Can eyes see without the light? Of course, if it's a pitch dark room, you cannot see anything, right? So I need the light to see this. I can differentiate this from that and this. You from her and he from that. All the differentiation is done, just same eyes, same light falling on you, but I can differentiate because what I am seeing, each object is different. These are all simple things. But let's go a little deep more. I cannot see any object without a light. In the pitch dark room, I cannot see. I need the light. But what does light do? Light reveals the object. I'm using specific words because I'll be using the same words again. Light reveals the object. Light doesn't create the object. You follow? That much we know. More than that, when I say object is, I can see there is a chair out there, table out there. Is that really what you see? Eyes can only see colors and forms, not the object. Colors and forms. Light falling on the object get reflected by the object and coming to my retina, forming an image in my retina, and that's what I see. Isn't it? So when I see a chair, it's not the chair that I see, but it's the light falling on the chair, getting reflected by the chair, falling into my retina, and the image of the chair is transmitted to my brain through the nervous system. Some neurons are formed. That much I can say from science. From then don't ask me anymore. Then it is converted into software by a program code that Lord has already put, which you cannot break it. And that code converts the hardware, the electrical signal, into software called thought. Don't say how, that's how. Because that's a code, program. We all know program, because when you type a computer, you only signal the electrical signals only. It has to be converted by a program code. That's why at Microsoft, they have their own codes, which is they have called the patented, but this is a patented by higher authority. You cannot even break it. It's amazing, you know. Knowledge is amazing. How I can see, I take things for granted. And don't tell the objective side. Objective sense cannot measure the subtle things. They cannot measure only up to neurons only. Electrical, they may say waves and all the blah blah blah. Then only say quote unquote somehow. Somehow means they don't know. Converted into thought. So what I see is only reflected light from the object, and the reflection depends upon the object. A form, colors coming from the object, same white light falling, Vibgayar or Vibjayar, the 7 colors, same together falling, but I see different colors, different forms, different shapes, because the reflecting media are different. Right? Simple basics. Depending upon the capacity of my sense organs, the eyesight, and depending upon the light, I am only seeing form, colors, attributes of the object, not the object per se. That's why I get only the front image, because that's how light is coming. I don't see the back side. This is a little bit different. This is a scientific aspect. This is a little bit from the Vedanta. I don't want to get into Vedantika, Mimamsa position of how perception occurs. Those who want to know more details, it's my website on the Vedanta Paribhasha analysis is there. Complete analysis of how perception occurs. But I'm just giving you the essence of it. So what I am seeing is only reflected light, not the object. How do you know there is an object there? Without the object, there cannot be reflection, number one. Without the light, there cannot be reflection, number two. These two are clear. Okay, of course I can go and sit down, and the chair fortunately doesn't complain, therefore I can sit down, and therefore I know transactionally there is a chair there. What I see is what I there because I can transact. If I see and it's not there, it's my hallucination, right? Pratibhasika versus Vyavaharika. I mean, the technical I'm just telling. Vyavaharika means transactionally clear. So when I say I am this, there is always a problem with this because I don't know this. I am only seeing attributes of the object as perceived depending upon the capacity of the senses and the operating conditions. That is, enough light should be there. Light should be there, and I should have proper vision, and I have keep my eyes open, and the mind also behind the eyes. All that are assumed when I am seeing there is a chair out there. Right? Now, most important thing here is I need the light to see the chair. That's clear. But I need the chair to recognize the light. This is strange. I'll give simple example. In my example, I will give you my hand here. You're seeing my hand. You need the light to see my hand. Right? That's clear. But also you need the hand to recognize the presence of the light where the hand is. If I remove the hand, you cannot see the light. Isn't it true? Therefore, I need a thing to reflect the light, to recognize the presence of the light. Hand is not luminous. But you need the hand to recognize the light where the hand is, so that I can see the hand. I know that there is a light that is falling on the hand, because it's a reflected light only you are seeing. You follow all the analysis? So important thing is I need, even though light can be pervading, all pervading, I cannot recognize the presence of the light unless there is an object to reflect it. Understand? If I look at the full moon night, I see a moon there. Oh, moon is shining, beautiful, it's cool, it's a hot, it's not like a sun, it's a beautiful moon. All romance comes, right? All the full moon night. Am I seeing the moon? Now you know. I am not seeing the moon, I am seeing sunlight. Right? Falling on the moon, getting reflected, and I am coming to my eyes. So it's only roundabout seeing. Same sunlight, without the sunlight, moon doesn't have a light of its own. So same sunlight falling on the moon, getting reflected by the moon, coming to my eyes and say, hey, moon is shining there. No, moon doesn't shine. It's only sunlight you are seeing. Now, in this hand, you know, I don't want to go to moon. There's no moon right now. So, looking at my hand, I say now, there are as though two lights. One is the original light falling on my hand, which you don't see. Another is light falling on the hand, getting reflected by the hand, which you see. Follow? Your attention is on my hand. Oh, Sadaji's hand, it is like this, like that, like that. I can see even lines and all that. You are paying attention to the reflecting media, but not to the light. So looking at the hand, it's not the hand, neti neti, but because of which hand is seen. Understand now? That light which I cannot see without the hand. You follow the trick here? There is original light, all pervading, but reflected by the hand and other things also. But I cannot see the original light. I can never see the original light. I can only see light that is reflected by the objects. If you understand it, you understand the Vedanta now. You clear? So, two lights here. One is the original light which you cannot see, other light the reflected light. But hand being not a luminous entity, it's only a medium to reflect. But hand is shining not because of its own, but because of the original light. Now meditation is looking at my hand, rejecting it's not the hand, is that because of which hand is seen. That light, concentrating on that light, rejecting the hand, but paying attention to the light, while looking at the hand. Follow the problem? That is viveka. That's called discrimination. Is that which is hand is temporary, anityam. Nityam is that which is doesn't change. Light is always there. So nitya, anitya, vastu, viveka is called viveka. Discriminating faculty to differentiate what is real and what is not real, what is changing and what is unchanging. So by looking at the object, looking at the reflection and paying attention to the light of reflection which cannot be seen without the hand, without the object. So I need the object to recognize the light, but I have to reject the object and recognize the light. While looking at the object. You understand? This is the real meditation now. Now apply this same thing to the consciousness. Consciousness is Brahman. That's what scripture says. It's called first Mahavakya. Prajnanam Brahman. Means consciousness is infinite. We'll come back again later how this is so. Existence is infinite, consciousness is infinite. Because that's why this scripture becomes a pramana for us. You cannot know otherwise. Because scientists are trying to find out what is consciousness, and they are going all sorts of theories and assume that the consciousness arises from matter. Somehow. Same somehow. Whereas we say consciousness is infinite. It cannot na udeti na astameti. Neither it can arise nor it can disappear. Says why? Because if it arises, who will know? Some conscious entity has to know if it arises. That means consciousness has to be there before. So prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is infinite. That means consciousness is all pervading, and as though, because it's infinite, so everything is in consciousness only. So famous question is, if everything is in consciousness, how come this is inert things are there? All those things people ask. Everything is inert around the world. Whole world, universe is inert, right? Except I am, everybody is inert. From my point, you're all inert. Because I can only see your body, nothing else. Of course, you make noises and all that, that I can say there is somebody there. So how do you know? So the consciousness infinite, that's why I use the light example. Even though same light which is falling on the objects, I see different things. He's wearing a blue color and a red color and a white color and a black color, a blue, all varieties of colors. So I can see objects are, red color is red object, blue color is blue object, and so on. Chair is blue or table is this color. Same white light falling on it. You know the theory of light, I don't know how many people know. Yeah, object looks red only because it absorbs all other colors except red color. That's why the object looks red. The other object looks blue because it absorbs all other colors except blue. Its molecular structure is such that it absorbs all other colors. Object looks white because it doesn't absorb, all colors are reflected. And looks black because it absorbs all colors. So its color of an object is nothing to do with the white light forming. White light is uniform. But depending upon the nature of the object, reflection is occurring, right? So don't blame the hey, why this light is giving me red light. No, it's uniformly all colors are there, but only that particular light is not absorbed, therefore you are seeing that object. And mix also, you can get different mixture of this Vibhaya. Same way, pure Satchidananda is all pervading infinite, but depending on the reflecting media, only existent part is reflected in the inert things. Existent and conscious part are reflected in the things that have subtle body. Subtle body is subtle. The mind and intellect also. Mano, buddha, hankara, chitta, that's a subtle body. But no Ananda. Sat Chit. Ananda is also reflected when the subtle body becomes calm and quiet. Follow now? It's nothing to do, Satchidananda is everywhere. Reflecting media are different. Clear? Now, pure consciousness is all over, but each media of reflection reflects depending upon the nature of the media. Follows from logically, right? So being a subtle body, a mind can reflect both the consciousness and existence. Because mind exists. Mind is. Otherwise you cannot talk about. Non-existence we cannot talk about. So classical, the Vedantic explanation is Vanjaputraha. Vanjaputra means son of a barren woman. It's a logical contradiction. It cannot exist. So mind is, body is, object is, only is object, existent object only we cannot talk about. The mind has a capacity to reflect not only the existent unconsciousness, therefore it appears as a conscious entity. Just as moon, by reflecting sunlight, appears as a luminous entity. Moon and mind are related. Right? It's a presiding deity of the mind, according to Vedanta also. So moon, even though doesn't have any light of its own, by reflecting it has become a luminous entity now in the sky. And I don't see any sunlight between moon and the Mars somewhere else. Right? In between also sunlight is there. But I cannot see. Remember, I need a reflecting medium in order to see. The same way, pure consciousness falling everywhere uniformly. It has no discrimination of any kind. But depending on the reflecting media, I get reflection. So mind being a subtle has a capacity to reflect the consciousness, and therefore by reflecting consciousness, it is as though behaves as a conscious entity. Clear? Just like a mirror. Mirror doesn't have it, but by reflecting, it's sending back the light. If the dull mirror, dull light will come. If the bright mind, brightness will be coming out. Right? If the mind is pure, all light will come out. Beaming consciousness. That's why the purity of the mind comes into picture. It's nothing to do with the consciousness. All pervading consciousness is uniform. It's only reflecting medium. So if my hand is clean, you see clean. If it's dirty, you see dirty there, because it's the reflecting medium problem. Now remember, without the hand, you cannot recognize the light where the hand is. Right? Remember that. You cannot recognize the consciousness without the mind reflecting consciousness. Understand this now? So I need the mind, just as I need the hand to see the light or to recognize the light. I need the mind to recognize the consciousness that is illumining the mind and making the mind conscious entity. I need the moon to see the sunlight, where the moon is. Without the moon, I cannot see the sunlight. With the moon, without the sunlight, I cannot see the moon also. But looking at the moon, I had to shift my attention to that because of which the moon is able to shine. Same thing applies in the meditation now. Looking at the mind, that because of which the mind is conscious of everything else, that consciousness, because the consciousness is not the property of the mind, but that because of which mind has become a conscious entity by reflecting the original consciousness which I cannot see. Follow now? This is Viveka. Viveka is shifting my attention from the reflecting medium to that because of which the original light is reflecting. This was clear? The only problem here is who has to recognize this? Same mind. That's the problem here. The mind is like a hand, has to recognize that I am not the hand. The shining coming from the hand is not due to me, it's from the light falling. It's like a hand has to recognize. Because the original consciousness doesn't have to realize, it's infinite. It doesn't have any problem. I have a problem. Who has a problem? Fellow who is having a mind only has a problem. Why? Because Vedanta says in the deep sleep state you have no problem. Isn't it? Everybody is happy. No wife also. Husband also. No husband, no wife, no children, no tuition fees, no, all other problems are not there. You are free. Completely. Ditiyadvo bhayam bhavati. So Upanishad says any duality causes a problem because it's Advaitam, no complete experience. Don't say I don't have Brahman experience. Every day you experience Brahman. Even waking also you experience, but in the deep sleep state, Ananda also is experienced. It's Ananda is only reflected Ananda because we cannot see original Ananda, remember. Only by reflection only we can see original. The same theory applies. So the problem now is I have to use the same mind to recognize that I am not the mind. Consciousness that is exhibited by the mind is not due to my mind, it is from the original consciousness. Follow now? Mind has to be used. Don't keep looking because I am going to extend this talk because lunch is going to be late. So lunch is going to be late because next talk will be long. Therefore next talk is long, this long also I am splitting. Therefore instead of 10:30 we will have 10:45 also. Okay, so I am aware of it. So don't worry about it. So concentrate on the mind. So the consciousness that I cannot recognize, imperceptible, because it's infinite. So I cannot become Brahman, or I cannot see Brahman, I cannot do anything with the Brahman because Brahman is infinite. Brahman doesn't have to realize also. So who will realize? Who has to realize? The one who is ignorant has to realize. Right? Who is ignorant? Not Brahman. Brahman is pure consciousness. It is I am ignorant. Who is ignorant? Who is that I am? I am identifying with this mind. Say I am ignorant. It's the mind that has the wrong notions. And remember, when did the mind has the wrong notions? From the beginning. That's how I accumulated vasanas of life after life after life. And I had to be born next life unless I realize that I am not the mind. Therefore, I don't need to be born. So the recognition has to be done by the mind by having a knowledge. But knowledge is also this. This has to eliminate all these wrong notions. Then what do I do? By attending this mind, I am getting another thought knowledge. That's what J. Krishnamurti problem is. Don't have a process to eliminate. No, by process only I got accumulated this problem. By process I can eliminate it. Just as I need a needle to remove the thorn, I am putting another sharp instrument inside to remove another one. But in the process I am getting rid of both the needle and the thorn also. So by cleaning, what is how do I clean a dirty plate? I put another dirt there, like a soap. In the process, I don't want soap on the dirt also. Both are cleaned out, leaving the plate clean. So there is a process of removing the dirt from the mind. That's called deconditioning. So I need, the mind has to recognize the consciousness that I am exhibiting comes from the original I am, and not this. Because when I say I am, this is ahankara. Ahankara means ego. You know who I am? In India you hear a lot, right? I am related to brother-in-law, that Italian lady there. So, that great I am. But all this I am not. I had to use mind to learn that I am not this, but I am that, because of which the consciousness that is exhibited by myself is due to that I am part and not this part. While using I am this, without this I cannot. You follow? I had to use the I am equal to this mind. At the same time, I am not this part, but I am part coming from the pure consciousness. I am not the hand, but that because of which hand is seen. That's a light. I am not the mind, that because of which I am conscious of the mind. But in this case, I have to use the same mind to know that I am not the mind. For that only, I had to prepare the mind, because I had to stand apart and look at the whole world and see everything in a correct perspective. Now remember, I gave already a theory. Pure existence all over. But the world, inert thing, only reflects the existent part. Right? Now, you see this? You all see this, right? Why you see this? Besides the light that we talked about, I can see it because it exists. Isn't it true? If it doesn't exist, you cannot see. So it has what you call, it exists, we say, it is. What is that existence, sir? So a lot of theories are there. If you go to existence is fundamental and all that. What is exactly existence? This exists. Is exist or existence property of this? Or part of this? Or product of this? It's not. Because my hand also exists. Right? Is there a difference between the existence of this and the existence of my hand? In the existence part, form exists, shape exists, which is different. I'm not talking about that. But exists, form also exists, shape also exists, everything exists. But existence itself is not a part of it. And without the existence, I cannot even see, because it doesn't exist. Existence cannot be seen. Why? Because it's not a property or product of light. And even beyond it also existence is there, because the space is there. There is a space exists. I cannot differentiate the existence in this form and existence in that form, but the existence itself is infinite, because it's formless. Therefore, it's imperceptible, yet it pervades every object and makes the object or makes its existence manifested in different forms. This is what Vedanta says. Just as light I cannot see, only reflected light I can see, same way existence I cannot see, because infinite, but reflected existence I can see in the form of objects. Clear? I'm more, everything I brought it logical. I come from, he gave big introduction there. So everything is extremely logical and scientific also, even though it's beyond the science. Because objective scientists cannot perceive, because his tools are not there. One has to use viveka for this. For that, to recognize that I am pure Satchidananda, I am existent consciousness, I need a subtle mind, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, shatka sampatti, mumutshutvam. For that, I need a mind which is able to detach itself as a part of the mind, can detach and look at the mind without getting carried away with the thoughts, even though thoughts are required to reflect. You follow why it's so? I need the hand to see the light, the same way. I need the thought to recognize that which is reflected by the thought. By reflection process only I can recognize the thought. For that, I need a prepared mind. And that's how the Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga starts, in preparing the mind. But for this part, that's why we go into the Tvam Padartha Vichara, Tat Padartha Vichara. I'm reading Tvam Padartha. Right now, who am I? Tvam Padartha. Tat Padartha is the rest of the universe we have to analyze. We'll go into in the next session at that time. And in the process, preparation of the mind also. But for the meditation process, now I want you to as an exercise, with this understanding so far, using the light example, as I am looking at the objects, can I pay attention to the light more than the object that I am seeing? Because slowly we'll be shifting to the consciousness that is pervading everywhere and getting reflected. Remember, same Satchidananda is falling everywhere, only existent part is reflected in the inert things. Existent unconscious part are reflected in the subtle, and existent consciousness and Ananda when the subtle is unperturbed. That means mind is calm and quiet. Ananda also gets reflected. That happens whenever you have a strong desire is fulfilled. In those moments, you are happy because you got what you want. My God, I got it. That is the first thing. Remember, I give you in Madras, hot cup of Madras coffee in the morning, there is Ananda. Why? The mind is calm, serene, peaceful after that cup of coffee. It's the mind able to reflect Ananda also until I want idli also. Then another desire comes, then there's a bit different problem. Therefore, as an exercise of meditation, start observing not only the forms and colors that are there, that are reflected, but that because of which I can see. I can see because not only the external light is there, object is there, also I have the capacity to see that which is reflecting light, and I am able to see. In every perception, if I can concentrate, shift my eye, no, don't get into accidents, but shift my hand, my attention from the object to the light and the existence also, if you can, you are developing essentially a detachment from the contents of the object to that because of which object is recognized. This is what Vairagya is. Remember? Viveka, Samadhi, Shatka Sampatti and Vairagya. Vairagya is not the hand, reject the hand, but pay attention to something because of which hand is seen. So in the next talk we'll talk about that there is a Lord in everyone also. That we'll start seeing, but right now we'll analyze this only because up to this we are talking about. So who is a Jiva now? Jiva is a reflected consciousness in the mind. Mind has become a conscious entity as though by reflecting. And as long as there is a mind, there will be reflection. As long as there is consciousness, there will be reflection. But because the mind doesn't know that the reflection, because I am able to reflect because of the original consciousness, it takes, I am self-conscious entity. I am reflecting by myself. I am conscious entity. You are different conscious entity. He is different conscious entity. Only reflecting media talking about. So moon saying, I am luminous entity. Venus says, I am luminous entity. They know none of them are luminous. Luminous is coming from sunlight only, right? The same way, every Jiva is nothing but simple reflected consciousness in the local mind. And it has a notion that I am pure consciousness, existing consciousness, I am independent entity. That's the problem. So what is Vedanta? What is realization? Nothing. It's just recognition that consciousness that I am, the mind has to recognize that coming from the pure I am. That is the original consciousness that I am claiming that I am the original consciousness, because the mind is only instrument that is reflecting. So who needs education? Who has to realize? This is called, technically called Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa means reflected consciousness. Why reflected? Because the reflecting medium is there, original light is there. So you need an original light, you need a reflecting medium, reflection will occur irrespective of whether the jnani or ajnani. But notion that I am only this is because I don't know that. I don't know the truth. Therefore, the wrong notions are in the mind, but same mind has to recognize. That's called a Jiva. Jiva means I am an individual. Individual with what? With this. Because I am this mind, I am this intellect, I am this. Wherever the body is there, I am there. Where the body is fat, I am fat. Wherever the body is brown, I am brown. Where the body is black, I am black. Where the body is white, I am white. Why? Because this. I am neither black nor brown nor white. I am neither fat nor inert. I am pure consciousness that's exhibited by this. That understanding has to occur in the mind. So Jiva notion that I am, and you say you are not this because you are this is your problem that we started with. That has become a fundamental problem, and that's a problem life after life after life. But if you recognize you are not this, but you are that because of which this exists, and this become a conscious entity also. That is Viveka, that is Jnana. So Jiva Swarupam is what? Jiva Swarupam is, it is the local consciousness as though, that is reflected consciousness, has, using the mind has a wrong notions, and it has to recognize that consciousness that I am exhibiting, the existence that I am exhibiting is coming from that pure I am, that is original consciousness. Where is the knowledge takes place? In the Chidabhasa mind. Mind with the reflected consciousness has to recognize that. How does it recognize? Using a Viveka, discriminative intellect. Where does the intellect comes? By preparing the mind. Follow the whole problem now? Now meditation is not. You have to understand this is what to be, not just today meditation. This has to be done all the time. Keep aware of this knowledge even after this class is over, camp is over. The more you dwell on this, the more you abide on this. There are no shortcuts. Now with this we will stop here and we'll go for a tea and come back around 11:10. And we'll continue with the Tat Padartha. What is Ishwar? Jiva only. The Tvam Padartha we analyze. We have to understand what is that which we rejected. I am not this, I am not this, we said, but I am that also now. That how it can be, we ought to come back and listen, understand. Okay? With that we will do Purnamada now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.